So what is going on, my fellow collectors? How is everybody doing today? Daredevil 19 here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Bandai Tamashii Nation's SH Figuarts Star Wars The Last Jedi Rey. So let's get into it right away and start off with the box. So we do get a basic style box when it comes to the SH Figuarts Star Wars line. So we do get the window right there in the front of the box, and on the window in gold does say Star Wars SH Figuarts. On the top right says from the new film Star Wars The Last Jedi, and the bottom here says Rey, The Last Jedi, Tamashii Nations, and Bandai. And then here is the bottom of the box with the blah 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 stuff nobody cares about, and then here is the top of the box. And then the one side of it, pretty basic for SH Figuarts Star Wars. And then the other side of the box here does have a cool image of the Rey figure. And then the back of it does show a few poses you can get the figure into, along with some of her accessories. But anyway, that is the packaging. Let's get this figure over to take a closer look at Rey. Alrighty, taking a closer detailed look, and I think Tamashii Nations did a great job with this Last Jedi Rey. And the face sculpt, I think, does look like Daisy Ridley. It's not perfect, but you can definitely see the likeness of the actress in the face sculpt there. So I think they did a really good job with that. And out of all the 6-inch scale Rey figures that we've gotten from other figure companies, I feel like Tamashii Nations did get the likeness down the best. And very nice paintwork on the face, especially on the eyes there. Really great job with that. Where the brown for the hair meets the skin tone, nice clean paint there. So that looks pretty good. And then we do get some nice shading in the hair. We get it like where the hairline begins. And then we get a little bit in the top center of her hair, then the lower part of her hair. But beautiful sculpt work all throughout the hair as well. Really like the way that turned out. One minor issue, I felt like I needed to point it out. The skin tone on the face doesn't match with the skin tone on the neck, and then around her collarbone there, and then on her arms and hands. So that might bug some people, might not bother some people. Figured I'd just point it out for you guys. Now for the torso here, one of my favorite parts about the figure is definitely the gray cloth that crisscrosses across the torso there and hangs down around her legs. It's one of my favorite things about the figure because I love the sculpted wrinkles all throughout them. They really did a beautiful job with that. And then the brown clothing she's wearing underneath has a very cool texture to it, and I really dig the way that looks as well. And the back looks just as good as the front. One issue though for me personally, there's pretty much no shading on this figure at all besides on her hair and on her boots. And Tamashii Nations really does lack a lot when it comes to shading. I mean, sometimes they'll throw it on a figure, and sometimes they won't throw any on a figure, or they'll just put a little bit on a figure, and it's like, come on, man, you guys could add a little more shading than that. Shading bothers some people, but might not bother some people with not having it. Now for the arms, really great job for the wrappings here. I love the way that looks. Very nice sculpt on them. Would have loved some paint shading on them as well. And then just on her left wrist, not the right one, we get like this little wristband, and it looks pretty cool. Nice sculpt and paint all throughout it, so I really dig the way that looks. Then we do get her sash or belt with the holster for her blaster. I like how they did sculpt and paint those silver buttons on the top and the bottom right there, and nice sculpt on it. And then the sash, beautiful sculpt on the gray, nice clean paint where the brown meets the gray, and for these little gold pieces. So very good job on the sash. And it is a darker gray on the sash there compared to the cloth that's wrapped around her. I don't know if it's like that in the movie. I forgot. I need to look up pictures to find out for myself. Now for the lower portion of Rey, we get the continuation of the gray cloth clothing that just wraps around her. And once again, beautiful sculpted wrinkles all throughout it. On this one under mine, there is some glue residue there. I don't know what that's from, but probably only with my figure. The other one looks great too. Beautiful sculpted wrinkles on it. The skirt piece underneath has the same type of texture to it as the brown around the torso, so that looks pretty cool. And it is a softer rubbery type plastic, but the gray pieces are a much softer rubbery type plastic compared to the brown, so it will hinder a little bit of leg articulation. I do wish both plastics were as soft as the gray piece. I don't know why this one's not as soft as the gray one there. But there is 2 slits, one on each side, so it won't hinder too much articulation, but it definitely will hinder some of the leg articulation. Now for her legs, they did a good job with the pants. I don't see any shading on it. We do get the sculpted seam on the inside and outside of the legs, and then we do get a little bit of sculpted wrinkles, mostly around the knees, and it just looks really nice. The back of the legs, really not much going on there. And I do love the way the pants look tucked into the boot, with all those sculpted wrinkles. I think that looks pretty cool. And then for the boots here, we get some, think it's a wash that they put in the boots, and it just really makes these boots on these Star Wars figures stand out. And that's always one of my favorite things about the SH Figuarts Star Wars figures. The boots always look really good on these Star Wars characters. Just that black wash or black shading just makes it stick out, and we get some very nice sculpted wrinkles. We got like a sculpted seam or something in the front of the boot there, which looks pretty cool. On the back, we do get like some straps or something, which look nice. And then the feet look pretty cool too. We do get the black shading as well, nice sculpt and everything. And then we do get her soles. So overall, I think Tamashii Nations really did an outstanding job with this Rey. Yes, I would have really loved some paint shading, but that doesn't really bother as much people as some. Like, it does bother me a lot. But overall, I think they really did an excellent job with the detail. But anyway, let's continue on. Moving on to the accessories, we get a bunch of pretty cool stuff included with this Rey. So we do get two alternate faces. So we do get this one on the left. It does come on the figure out of the packaging, and this is the basic looking face that we already took a look at before, and I do think they did capture the likeness of Daisy Ridley pretty good with this one here. It's not perfect, but you can see the actress in the face there. So we do get that one, and then we do get the angry teeth gritted face, which does look like her. It's not perfect, but I'm glad they did include at least two alternate faces with a Star Wars figure. The paint and sculpt look great on it. I love the way the eyes look, and the hair looks pretty good too. And the way you interchange these faces is a little bit different compared to what we're used to. So the way you get them on, there's a peg right there, and you just peg it into the top of her head. So it just pegs right on, and when you want to take it off, just pull up to take it off. Simple as that. So we do get those two alternate faces, and then we also get her bag, which is one of my favorite accessories that Tamashii Nations included with this Rey. And we get some really great sculpt work all throughout this. I love all the sculpted wrinkles, the buckle sculpted on there with the strap and everything. And very nice clean paint work as well, where the darker brown meets the lighter brown, and then the silver for the buckles. Nice clean paint on those as well. Same with on the strap. So very good job with the paint work and the sculpt. And I do love that they added paint shading on this. It just makes the bag look that much better. See how much better something looks with just a little bit of paint shading added on it. So really cool accessory here. And the way you get this on Rey, you got to pop her head off the joint like that, and you kind of lift her left arm out to the side a little bit, and it's going to rest on Rey's back like that. So all you do is just slide it under her arm and then over her neck, and then you just pop the head right back on, and there you go, as simple as that. And it looks really cool once you have it on the figure, and I will have this displayed with my Rey on display. So we do get her bag, and then we also get two lightsaber hilts. So we do get a lightsaber hilt that's not ignited, then we do get one that is ignited, and then we do get her little blaster that Han Solo gave her. And they did an excellent job with the blaster here. Beautiful paint and sculpt all throughout it. I really dig the silver that they used for it. So very cool looking blaster, and it does fit right into her holster perfectly. And this does come on Rey in her holster right out of the packaging, and it fits in there pretty good. And if you tip it upside down, it will shift down a little bit, but it won't pop out. So we do get her blaster, and then we do get the two lightsaber hilts. So we do get the one that isn't ignited, and they're both the same hilts. Beautiful paint and sculpt on this here. A nice clean paint for the black, and then the red for the button there. Really cool looking. There's nowhere you can holster this hilt though, which I wish they would have gave you like a little spot to put it, but she doesn't holster it anywhere in the movie, so I'm guessing that's why they didn't make it so you could holster it for her. And then we do get the lightsaber hilt with the ignited blade there, and it's a very, very like baby blue. A nice translucent plastic for the blade there, and it does split apart at the hilt so you can get her to grip onto it. And the peg is shaped a certain way, so you can't just peg it right back in however you want. You got to find the groove there and just pop it right back in. But the hilt looks exactly the same as the other one. Very nice paint on the black and the gold there. And then that black button and then the red button, nice clean paint on that. So very good job on both lightsaber hilts and the blaster. So we do get those, and then finally we get 8 interchangeable hands. But before we go over those really quickly, I just wanted to mention that I do wish that Tamashii Nations included Rey's staff, because she still has it in The Last Jedi. So I don't know why they didn't include that with Rey here. So that is a little bit disappointing. And another thing, with her interchangeable hands, we don't get a pair of Force using hands, and Rey mostly uses the Force a lot in The Last Jedi, so I don't know why Tamashii Nations didn't give us some Force push or Force using hands with this Rey. That is also a bit disappointing. But the hands we do get 8 of them, and we do get a pair of fists, of course, which come on the figure out of the packaging. No shading on them or anything like that, but very nice sculpt all throughout the fists. And the fists are the easiest hands to interchange, because all the other ones, the peg insert, are kind of like on an angle, especially with the gripping hands here. These ones are the biggest pain in the arse to get on the wrist joint there, because you can see how they're on an angle, but very nice sculpt all throughout these here. And she does grip onto the lightsaber hilt fairly well. The bottom part of it, you kind of have to force it in there, but you can get her to grip onto it, but you might cause some paint rub. It's easier if you just have her gripping onto it on the top there. But I mean, if you want her to wield it with both hands, you're going to have one hand hold it on the top and one on the bottom, so you kind of have to force it when you're getting the bottom part of the hilt in her gripping hand here. So we do get a pair of those, and then we do get a pair of trigger finger hands, and I'm really not a fan that they made the index finger fully extended. It should be bent a little bit so you can put it in the trigger hole on her blaster, because she doesn't really hold it that well. She holds it pretty good, but I feel like if the finger was bent so you could put it in the hole where the trigger is, she would hold on to the blaster much better. So we do get a pair of these, and very nice sculpt all throughout them. And then finally we get a pair of these open resting hands, which I guess you could technically use as force using hands, but they don't look like force using hands. They should have gave us a pair of force using hands with this Rey. I don't know why Tamashii Nations didn't, but very nice sculpt all throughout these. So those are all the accessories included with Rey. Let's keep moving on with the rest of the review, shall we? Now for the height of Daisy Ridley. To the top of her head, it looks like she stands around 5 inches and 3/4 of an inch tall. And then here she is compared to the Mafex, The Force Awakens Kylo Ren, the SH Figuarts, The Last Jedi Kylo Ren, the Elite Praetorian Guard, and BB-8. And then here she is compared to the SH Figuarts Attack of the Clones Obi-Wan Kenobi, The Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Darth Maul. And then here she is compared to the SH Figuarts Awakened Warrior Super Saiyan Goku and the Mezco 112 Deadpool. And with are some quick comparisons, let's keep moving on with the rest of the review. So now for the articulation, we do have 2 joints at the neck. So the upper neck joint, you could get Daisy Ridley to look up, only that much gets hindered by her hair. And then she does look down a really good amount. It's on like a barbell type joint, so you get some really nice movement out of the upper neck there. Very nice pivot, as you can see. And you can kind of like do the Night at the Roxbury with her, and then it does swivel. The lower neck joint does go forward pretty good. Goes back a little bit as well, so with both joints, she does look all the way down in both joints. She doesn't look up too much. We do get some nice pivot at the lower neck, and then it also swivels, so we get some really good movement at both the neck joints. Then we do get a point of articulation at the waist there, and I believe it might be on a barbell joint as well, because you can shift it back and forth and side to side, so you can crunch Rey forward about that much. And then she does go back pretty good amount. And then we do get very nice pivot at that joint there. Whoops, top of her head fell off. And then we do get swivel at the waist. Now for the arms here, we do get a nice circular motion out of the arms, as you can see there. I mean, it's not the best. We have gotten better with SH Figuarts. Her arms do go out to the sides a lot more than 90 degrees, which is definitely a big plus. They do go up and down. No bicep swivel, which is very disappointing, because they could have just thrown it in where the wrappings connect to the skin tone there. I don't know why they didn't put a bicep swivel in there, because that really does limit your arm articulation. So you're going to have to use the swivel at the shoulder joint there. Then we do have a single jointed elbow that bends in all the way, so very nice movement there. And you do get swivel at the elbow joint where it connects into the bicep, and can't really get it to swivel where it connects into the forearm, but I believe you can if you try. Then for the wrists here, we do have a ball hinge, so it does swivel and hinges back and forth. Now for the legs here, we do get these shifting leg joints. They do shift down just a tiny bit, so Rey can kick forward a little more than 90 degrees, and then goes to the back about 45 degrees. Then with both leg joints, with her doing the splits, come on arms, get out of the way. As you can see, the skirt and the gray cloth does hinder the leg articulation a bit, but she does kick out to the sides maybe a little more than 45 degrees. Then we do get an upper thigh swivel. Then we do have a single jointed knee that bends back little more than 90 degrees, and the joint does swivel a tiny bit where it connects into the thigh and where it connects into the lower leg. Now for the ankles here, really don't get the best ankle movement, but it does swivel, hinges up a tiny bit, hinges down a little bit as well, and then we just get a tiny bit of ankle pivot. We just get some horrible ankle pivot with these Star Wars figures. SH Figuarts, Tamashii Nations, I mean, really need to step up their game with their ankle pivot on their Star Wars figures, and we do get a very nice toe hinge. So overall, I think we get some pretty good articulation with this Rey. Some points aren't as good as others, but you're going to be able to get her in some good Jedi-like poses, and I'm about to show you some of them right about now. But anyway, that is my review of the SH Figuarts The Last Jedi Rey. Hope you enjoyed it. If I had to rate this figure between a 1 through 10, I'd have to give it an 8.5. If you would like to know the price and where to buy this figure, I did have mine imported from Japan from Ami, but I'm pretty sure my buddy from Agelessgeeks will be getting this in stock very shortly. Not sure if he's going to have it on the website, but I know he will definitely have it at his booth at Frankensons. And don't forget, if you ever do buy something from Agelessgeeks.com, to enter in codename Daredevil, and you will get yourself a 5% off discount. I will put more information in the description below. And if you would like to support the channel, don't forget to subscribe and click on that notification bell. And if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, just give it a thumbs up anyway, because action figures are awesome. But thanks for watching. I will see you later. So we do get a basic style box when it comes to the SH Figuarts Star Wars line. So we do get a basic style box when it comes to the SH Figuarts Star Wars line. So we do get the window right there in the front of the on the window in gold does say SH does say Star Wars, then SH Figuarts. Damn it. The SH Figuarts The Last Jedi Kylo. Damn it. The Last Jedi Praetorian. Yeah. What did I say? I don't even know. Let's keep moving on with the rest of the review. Damn it, that was a fail. And then we do get her blaster, so we do get. So I feel like did the best so far out of all the figures that we've gotten a Rey figure of, but